Just one night after emotional shock, and the heart can completely collapse. This is not a scare tactic. This is something I, as a cardiologist, have witnessed dozens of times in the emergency room. Henry received the call at 3 a.m. The nurse's voice was hoarse. Your son was in an accident. He didn't make it. He didn't cry. He quietly reached for the shirt his son had gifted him and held it tight. 3 days later, his heart stopped beating in his sleep. Just hours earlier, he had been rushed to the hospital with classic heart attack symptoms: shortness of breath, spiking blood pressure, irregular heartbeat. He didn't survive. According to the Mayo Clinic, the risk of a heart attack can increase by over 2,000% in the first 24 hours following a traumatic emotional event, such as the loss of a loved one, divorce, sudden accident, or financial collapse. This isn't about feelings, it's about biology. When stress hits, hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood the bloodstream, causing vessels to constrict, the heart to race, and blood pressure to surge, putting enormous pressure on the cardiovascular system. It becomes especially dangerous after age 60, when silent heart failure symptoms like fatigue, shortness of breath, and leg swelling may already be present. One final emotional drop, and the heart can break, literally. But why is stress, something invisible, able to destroy the heart faster than chest pain? That question deserves a serious answer before it's too late. Many people think the heart only hurts in the mind. But in modern medicine, the heart can actually become paralyzed after emotional trauma, a condition known as Takotsubo syndrome, or more commonly, broken heart syndrome. When someone experiences a sudden emotional shock, losing a loved one, betrayal, bankruptcy, adrenaline levels in the blood surge dramatically. This hormone flood causes blood vessels to constrict, heartbeat to become erratic, and blood pressure to rise dangerously. The result? The lower part of the heart, especially the left ventricle, swells and weakens like a deflated balloon. Patients can develop symptoms that mimic a real heart attack: fatigue, chest pain, shortness of breath, sudden exhaustion. I'll never forget the case of Linda, an Italian-American woman living in Brooklyn. Just 2 days after discovering her husband's infidelity, she felt unusually tired. Walking a few steps left her breathless. She thought it was just stress. But when she came into the clinic, her ECG showed ST segment abnormalities, poor heart pumping, and clear signs of Takotsubo syndrome. "Doctor, it feels like my heart is being crushed," she said with tears. And she wasn't wrong. Her heart was literally contracting under emotional pressure. Had she waited just a few more hours, it could have progressed into full-blown heart failure symptoms or even sudden cardiac arrest. Emotions can kill, but what's even more terrifying is how silently they do it.
Each of the lines below could be the final drop that makes the heart stop beating. You might think stress is only about emotions, but after the age of 60, stress doesn't just steal your sleep, it can trigger a heart attack within 24 hours. And the dangerous part is, most of us don't even realize that pain is quietly building up day by day. Imagine an elderly father living alone in Ohio. Since his wife passed away, he hasn't had anyone to talk to. Evenings drift by in silence, no voices, no laughter. According to the American Heart Association, this kind of loneliness can raise the risk of heart failure by 34%. Not because of age, but because the heart is silently being choked by cortisol, the stress hormone building up in his blood. Now picture a mother in Florida, constantly worrying about rent, medication costs, and who would take care of her husband if she fell ill. This type of financial anxiety doesn't show up on blood tests, but it causes wild blood pressure fluctuations, erratic heartbeat, and episodes of shortness of breath that no one can explain.
Then there's the stress of caregiving.
Linda, a middle-aged woman from Brooklyn, took care of her father with Parkinson's for years. Every night she was awakened by groans and calls for help. She loved him dearly, but the constant stress wore her down. She began experiencing unrelenting fatigue, and only when heart failure symptoms appeared did her doctor say, "You're walking the fine line between caregiving and collapse." Yet there's an even more dangerous kind of stress, chronic stress from underlying illnesses. Diabetes, high blood pressure, arthritis, they don't just wear out the body, they exhaust the heart. When physical weakness and mental fatigue pile up, and sleep, diet, and peace become unmanageable, stress settles in like a slow, soaking rain. Many heart attack patients come in with physical symptoms, but the true cause was years of silent suffering and helplessness. And finally, the most brutal stress of all, losing a loved one. A phone call with devastating news, a funeral in the cold, an empty room where no one comes home. According to Harvard Health, the risk of heart attack rises 21 times during the first 7 days after losing someone close. This is called broken heart syndrome, and it is very real. A heart can literally stop from too much grief. So how can you recognize when stress has reached a dangerous level? In the next section, we'll show you the early warning signs and what you can do to prevent disaster before it's too late.
You can't stop heartbreaking events from happening, but you can stop your heart from collapsing in their aftermath. Many people over 60 live in silence with no one to talk to. Each day is a mix of financial worry, illness, or the loss of a loved one. These emotions may seem temporary, but in reality, they trigger chronic stress, pushing up blood pressure, disrupting heartbeat, and in many cases, leading to heart failure after just one emotional shock. The problem is, we often hold stress in without knowing how to release it, and that's what slowly exhausts the heart from within. So, how can you release stress right from home? Calm your nervous system and give your heart a break each day. The 4-7-8 breathing technique, inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8, is recommended by Harvard Health to lower adrenaline fast. Just 3 minutes in the morning can reset your autonomic nervous system. Add 5 minutes of simple meditation. Place your hand on your chest, feel each heartbeat, and you'll increase your heart rate variability, HRV, a sign of strong heart health. Emotional journaling, 5 minutes a day. Write down what made you feel sad, angry, or worried. Then add the sentence, "Today, I choose to let this go." Science calls this emotional labeling, a technique that helps the brain process emotions instead of letting them build up and cause heart failure symptoms like shortness of breath, fatigue, or chest pressure.
Therapeutic music 15 minutes every night. Music with slow rhythms 40 to 60 BPM helps stabilize your heartbeat, reduce cortisol, and boost dopamine, a chemical that makes you feel safe and calm. Make your own playlist. Call it Heart Healing Sounds. Reconnect with loved ones or support groups. A video call with your granddaughter, a community group, or an online book club. These small moments remind you that you're not alone. Love and connection are the most powerful medicine for a wounded heart. 4-minute mindfulness whenever stress strikes. Close your eyes, feel your breath. Notice the sounds, scents, and temperature around you. Harvard research shows this technique can stabilize the cardiovascular system in just 4 weeks, especially in people with weak heart health. Don't wait for a heart attack to teach you peace. Reducing stress is the cheapest and most powerful way to protect your heart after 60.
I'm tired, but not in my body. I'm tired in my heart. That's what a 73-year-old patient in Ohio told Dr. John Anderson, a cardiologist, and it's a sentence he'll never forget. There were no blocked arteries, no heart attack.
Yet her heart failure symptoms were rising at an alarming rate. After testing, the culprit was found: chronic internal stress. If you or someone you love has been feeling the following: you wake up easily, can't sleep deeply. You feel a strange fatigue, even after 8 hours of sleep. Your heartbeat speeds up when watching the news or worrying about medical bills. You feel chest tightness, shortness of breath, or unusual heart palpitations. You've had long-term insomnia, loss of energy, and breathlessness from just a few stares. You feel a loss of meaning, prolonged loneliness, and can't explain why. Don't brush it off. This is not just stress. This could be your heart sending an early warning. A heart attack might be quietly approaching. What you must do right now: see a cardiologist or internal medicine doctor, even if you don't have obvious symptoms. Say it clearly: I'm concerned that stress is harming my heart. Ask for advanced testing.
Heart rate variability, HRV, measures how well your heart responds to stress. Low HRV can signal suppressed cardiac function. Blood pressure tracking across the day, especially if your readings fluctuate between morning and night. CRP-HS, or vascular inflammation tests, early markers of potential heart failure or inflammatory heart disease. Also, request a blood cortisol test or even a salivary test to understand how high your stress hormones are. Many people believe they're just anxious, but elevated cortisol slowly drains the heart's strength, like a battery being quietly depleted. Don't treat your heart alone. Heal your mind too. Talk to a therapist. Share your fears with family. Join a support group, spiritual, emotional, or medical. Your heart needs love, not just medication. Stress won't kill you instantly, but it will slowly weaken your heart day by day. And after age 60, every episode of prolonged stress becomes a dangerous gamble for your survival. Don't wait for your heart to scream before you finally listen. Managing stress is the smartest and most overlooked way to prevent a heart attack, starting today.
I thought Dad was just stressed. I didn't know that his heart would stop overnight. Those were the words of Ethan, a 14-year-old boy from New Jersey, as he held tightly to his father's photo on the day of the funeral. His father was a healthy man. No smoking, no history of heart disease, but after months of insomnia, financial pressure, and emotional stress from a divorce, he died of a heart attack right there in his kitchen. No final words, no goodbye. Many people think stress is just a mental issue, but it's not. Stress kills the heart, silently, gradually, and when it strikes, it's often when you least expect it. According to Harvard Health, the risk of a heart attack increases 21 times in the first week after a major emotional shock, like losing a loved one. And the Mayo Clinic warns 50% of heart failure cases go undiagnosed in the first 2 years because patients believe it's just stress. So if you've been feeling drained lately, emotionally stuck, or inexplicably lonely, pause and ask your heart, are you crying for help? Final message: if you or someone you care about is under stress, don't wait for the symptoms. See a doctor. Check your blood pressure. Take a deep breath. Talk to someone. Ask for help. Because stress won't kill you today, but it might steal your heartbeat in the middle of the night.